Right now, local authorities still trying to determine the cause of a child's death. Good evening, I'm dhood1. Well, new developments tonight in the case of a missing West Columbia woman. The woman's husband and son now charged with murder in this case. West Columbia Police Chief Dennis Tyndall saying investigators found Susan Wilkes' body buried in the town of Little Mountain.
People that I talked to find the conclusion reached in this almost 800-page report disappointing. This parking lot has proven to be a potential treasure trove of goodies for criminals. Not only are we finding cars with lots of...
We now know what caused a Columbia toddler's death earlier this week. Richland County Coroner Gary Watts says 2-year-old Michaela Johnson died of natural causes.
Greg Jones's mom, Marilyn, believes the reason Carolyn Smith targeted their home is because of the 4 flat tires on Smith's car.
Hot and humid. I think you've heard that before about the weather across the Midlands.
Yes, and chances are you're going to hear it again and again.
And again.
And again, Justin.
and again, Daryl.
This all started when a Rhodes College professor was walking to work this morning along this stretch of Mignon. That's when 2 people drove up alongside of her, a man and a woman, pretending to need directions. Here is just another example of how strong these winds were when it toppled this tree. Check out what else it brought up with it, this huge mound of dirt.
South Carolina voters gearing up to make their votes count one more time. Good evening, I'm dhood1.
And I'm Bree Boyce. The polls will open in less than 24 hours for the statewide runoff election.
Yeah, watch Fox News reporter Tony Talley live in studio tonight with what you need to know to make an informed decision. And Tony, what's the turnout expected to be like tomorrow?
Daryl, watch Fox News.
Thank you, Tony, and do want to let you know that for more on tomorrow's runoff election, including what times the polls open and close, click on this story right now at watch.com. Of course, we'll have runoff results for you tomorrow night on Watch Fox News at 10. We've got new information tonight in the federal corruption case against suspended Lexington County Sheriff James Metz. Federal court records show last Friday a federal judge sealing the sworn statements that led to the indictment against Metz. Prosecutors asking for that case to be sealed because it might jeopardize an ongoing investigation. A search warrant was also executed at the Sheriff's Department where several electronic devices were seized by authorities. Metz is scheduled to make his first court appearance July 1st. He's accused of taking money from friends in exchange for agreeing to assist people who are in the country illegally and being detained.
The search is now...
Well, a group of South Carolina correctional officers getting specialized training right now on how to deal with mentally ill inmates. Sessions going on all week long. Corrections Director Brian Sterling hopes graduates can use what they learned to train more officers. That training follows a lawsuit against the department. Earlier this year, a judge siding with a group of inmates who sued the agency over alleged constitutional violations. Sterling is appealing that ruling, but the parties have also been in mediation over ways to correct those issues. And the search is on right now for the suspects in a drive-by shooting. It happened last night on Chartel Circle at about 7 o'clock. Richland County investigators say someone fired several shots at a home and car in the driveway. A mom and child were in that car at the time. Luckily, they weren't hurt. If you can help authorities catch those responsible, call Crime Stoppers. You know the number, it's 1-888-CRIME-SC. When it comes to the weather, the muggy meter working overtime today.
That's right, but things have at least cooled off a little bit. And
Later on.
Continuing coverage now of the escalating violence in Iraq. Secretary of State John Kerry in the country today in an effort to ease tensions by making a push for a new government. He is pushing Iraqi leaders to form a new, more inclusive government as militants gain ground. The secretary in the country as ISIS continues its march on Baghdad. The al-Qaeda-inspired group ramping up its activity over the last 2 weeks with militants capturing posts on the borders with Jordan and Syria just Sunday. And even though the conflict in Iraq is a world away, there are some who say its effects could be felt here in America.
a group of Iraqis gathering on the USC campus to voice their opposition to ICE. Unsolicited phone call.
Yeah, be careful. Harvest Hope Food Bank needs your help right now to reach a new goal. So far, it's raised enough for almost 1 million meals, feeding on average 350 families a day, but it still needs resources to provide for the remaining 1.1 million meals before the end of June. Officials say this will make sure families don't face empty tables before the 4th of July holiday.
Tonight, police are asking for the public's help to bring his killer to justice.
I'm gonna miss you, son.
I might enjoy that. I need to get out there.
You can't help
Well,
but
coming up,
feel
the
for Arthur
IRS
Gregory Jr.
offering up an
He's having
explanation
a tough
now about how thousands of the agency's emails were lost. This in the wake of the investigation into IRS targeting of certain political groups. New tonight, lots of folks waiting to find out who will be the next Miss South Carolina. A lot of young ladies competing in this year's competition right now here in the Midlands. That right, Bree?
That's right, Daryl.
Well, stay with us. Got much more ahead for you tonight, including why you can expect to start paying more for that caramel latte soon at Starbucks. Plus, a bad diagnosis can be tough to deal with, but it can be devastating if it was all just a mistake. How doctors are working to keep those types of mistakes from ever happening again next.
Got a lot of moisture in the air because of the oncoming rain.
All the pageant girls here in town are going to have extra hairspray.
Big hair.
It's kind of like me saying dance, puppets, dance.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry. Plan your health by watch.com.
Next in sports, football season still 2 months away, but there is still plenty of talk about in Gamecock Nation. That'll do it for us. Hope you got a fantabulous night ahead of you.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you here tomorrow night.
Police say 2 masked men approached the victim, Arthur Gregory III. One of them shot him. Tonight, police are asking for the public's help to bring his killer to justice.
I'm gonna miss you, son.
You can't help but feel for Arthur Gregory Jr. He's having a tough time coping with the loss of his teenage son.
I'm gonna miss my son. Only child I had at the age I am, 52. By flesh and blood.
Arthur Gregory III was shot and killed in his driveway during an attempted robbery Thursday night. 2 men wearing masks ambushed him. One pulled the trigger.
They said, drop it. Give me all you got. And he said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't go down like that. And then when he turned, getting away from him, that's when he started shooting.
Mom, Kathy Gregory, was home when the shooting happened. Arthur's girlfriend was inside his car at the time. She wasn't hurt. Ever since Arthur's life was taken, his family has received an overwhelming show of support. He may be gone, but definitely not forgotten. This memorial, a big indication of that, all in honor of a young man who had a very bright future ahead of him. Arthur just graduated high school in May and was planning to join the U.S. Air Force. Now, instead of celebrating his journey into manhood, his parents are doing something no parent should ever have to, preparing to bury their son.
They didn't have to take his life. And I just hope to the fullest point that whoever might have done it, they get to the fullest extent.
I want them to be found. They're found, and then God gonna handle the rest, because I don't have to say anything else. Because it will be. God will take care of it.
Anyone with information about the shooting is asked to call the West Memphis Police Department. A $1,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. In West Memphis, Daryl Hood, ABC 24 Eyewitness News.
Staff Sergeant William Carlson with the South Carolina Air National Guard, assigned to the 169th AMXS. I joined the military primarily because I knew it was a calling. My family served, both my grandfathers, my dad served, my brother served. It's something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid.
Sergeant William Carson, a Midlands resident who just happens to be an American hero. He's one of the guys on the ground in wartime who make sure the F-16s of the 169th Fighter Wing based at McIntyre are loaded with the necessary weaponry when they fly into battle.
My whole mission here is to come out on drill weekend, 2 weeks a year, whenever it is that they need me, and load different munitions on the aircraft. Depending on our role or what we're doing, it's going to determine what type of munition we're going to use. If we don't take it serious, somebody dies. So we always take it serious.
Sergeant Carlson has been in the National Guard 10 years. In that time, he's deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan, ground zero in the war on terror.
I do believe, like I said before, that we are making a difference over there. And if the United States, the president, anybody was to ask me to go back over there, I'd be more than happy and more than willing to go back and do what I need to do in order to protect this country.
When he's not on base, Sergeant Carlson is still protecting and serving in his day job. He's a deputy with the Richland County Sheriff's Department. Duty called and Sergeant Carlson answered. He says he couldn't imagine doing anything else.
I do it because I love my country. I also get a sense of pride on coming out here and knowing that I'm going to protect my family, your family, and it's something that makes me feel good.